You got a quote on the generator? They're out of their mind. Yeah, but for the install, they're like, need 200 amp, 200 amp. 200 amp service right now? You don't? Is he gonna upgrade it?
Great, so, like,
What, so why do it?
that's great, that's what I look at.
Waste.
No.
No. But
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please stand to salute the nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before this evening's meeting, we held a brief executive session to consult with our attorney related to the Connor Samuel well pad. In attendance this evening are Supervisors Fisher, Aguizio, Cassiola, Fleer, and Darlene Barney. In addition, Township Manager Don Januso, Jack King, Director of Planning and Assistant Township Manager, Sean Bukovinsky, Chief of Police, Bill Bodorf, Director of Public Works, Fire Chief Noel McMillan, Engineer Dan Deiseroth of Gateway Engineers, and Township Solicitor Attorney Gretchen Moore. Comments will be taken at this time for any item to be voted on by the board that appears on the agenda. General township comments or questions will be addressed before the close of the meeting. Please step to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Okay. Pavilion rental for non-residents is Friday, March 11th, 2022, beginning at 8 a.m. Cecil Township Historical Society will hold their monthly meeting on Wednesday, March 16, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the meeting room of the municipal building. The Spring Craft and Vendor Show will be Saturday, March 26, 2022 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Cecil Township VFC number 3 Fire Hall, 3351 Millers Run Road, Cecil, PA. $30 for an 8-foot table. There's over 35 craft and vendors and $30 for an 8-foot table. Don't forget there's an Easter egg hunt coming up on Saturday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Registration will be posted in the Cecil Community Parks and Recreation page on Facebook and on the Township's website. The event is open to Cecil Township residents ages 12 and under. There will also be a fishing derby on Saturday, April 30th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event is open to Cecil Township residents only ages 3 to 12. Registration forms will be posted in the Cecil Community Parks and Recreation page on Facebook and on the Township's website at the end of March. We'll move on to discussion items at this point.
So the first item on the discussion agenda is Dawn received a request from Minard & Sons, which is a business out on Georgetown Road. And their location is approximately, just highlighted here on a township map. This is the Minard operation. This is Georgetown Road, and this is Baker Road. They submitted information regarding a request for relief from the local delivery aspect of the ordinance that was just passed. The recommendation, at least from our office, was to understand at least what the trucks that would be using the road. And I did talk to Mitchell Minard today, and he said that there are 4 to 6 trucks per day that some of them go out this way to Georgetown and to Mayview, but some of them would, or they have in the past, used Baker Road, but they've not been using Baker Road since it's been posted. So this is above Dawn and I's pay grade to make a decision on. That's why we brought it to the board. not asking you to make a decision tonight, but just bringing it to your attention. They did provide information from their side as to why they believe that they qualify. I don't have a position one way or another, just providing information to the board.
Dan, what's the weight of these trucks, you know?
They don't push full weight limit, Frank. They have 2 tractor trailers. Of course, they have to deliver some larger pieces of steel. They do, I believe they do structural steel, and they fabricate it here. They don't run the full weight limit, but they do run tractor trailers, and then they do have some smaller trucks for smaller deliveries.
Sean, aren't they permitted to make local deliveries?
They're not along, they would be eligible for local delivery if they were on Baker, but they're not on Baker. Yeah, that would be it'd be a given, but that's, again, the request was made and we're just bringing it to the board's attention.
So there's no formal, that's why I was just asking Gretchen, because there's no formal vote that would be required to make this change. It would be done administratively should we decide to do it. Are you just polling the board and bringing it to us so that we know kind of what's going on?
Again, Dawn and I didn't feel comfortable with making the decision. We wanted to bring it to the board's attention. And, because it'll ultimately come to you guys anyway, and if they just take a straw poll of the board, and we'll react appropriately. That's all I think needs to be done.
So I think at this point, do you want to talk about it now? No. So I was just going to say, why don't you sometime this week send Don an email and let him know what your thoughts are on this, and then Don, once you hear from all the board members, if there's a majority, then you can let them go ahead and do that, and if there's not, then you can just let them know that unfortunately there's not a majority that are in favor of making this allowance. Is that okay with all the board members?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't forget, put it in your calendars that you have to email Dawn and let him know what you think about this. Thank you, Dan.
So the next item is a request from Cool Valley. I did get a call from their consultant, GAI, last month. It was in February. They were making application for a joint permit for the project to grade the property. We had received an application that's been in abeyance for a long time on the property, so they seem to want to get it moving further. The permit that they have applied for is going to take about a year to obtain, so I don't see anything happening for at least a year. But as a part of their application, they requested that I give them this consistency letter, which basically means that I've looked at the stormwater and it meets the township's ordinance. It doesn't approve the plan or anything else like that. So I told them before I could you don't have an application in, you don't have anything in, that I would need to review this with the board to make sure that the board was okay with this. If you are okay with it, we would require them to post an escrow to pay any fees that myself or the solicitor would have involved in this matter. But we didn't even want to go there. At least I didn't want to go there until I at least brought it to the board's attention. Because I'm basically giving them something before they've made application for approval. That's not unusual, totally unusual. All they're getting is a joint permit that wouldn't allow them to develop the property. And I asked them for a letter. They gave me an email. I asked them for a preliminary plan. I didn't get that yet. So I don't really have anything to show the board except that it's still the same plan to develop the land that's located off of Morganza, closest to I-79. And they have one anchor that they want to put up there. They weren't at liberty to say who it was, and then they want to do some residential development. So the project's still alive.
Do you have any idea when or how quickly it would be moving forward?
How quickly they would be?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, if they got their application in for the joint permit and then they started the entitlement process with the township, I mean, they could be going in about a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm just
again,
looking
this
for
is
the
admin,
board's
right?
okay to cooperate And I've given Liz a pre-development agreement. So a lot of times what happens with people come in and they want us to do stuff, me specifically, there's no fees to pay myself or get the solicitor involved. So we have a pre-development application now where people have to sign a pre-development where they agree, they give us money up front, they pay all the fees that are involved. So the township's not holding the bag on any of this kind of stuff. So
I mean, you can ask her, I'm okay with it as long as they are gonna cover all 100% of the cost associated with it. And is everybody else okay with that? Do you wanna say no?
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like the rest of the board's okay with that. So as long as there's an agreement in place that covers all of your fees and all of Gretchen's fees, that's fine.
okay,
Thanks, Dan.
very good. The next item that I wanted to bring to your attention is the pollution reduction plan for Miller's Run. So just a brief bit of background for the supervisors and for the audience. We're under a permit in the township called an MS4 permit. That permit requires us to do certain things within a 5-year period. One of those things is to actually complete a pollution reduction plan where we have to take sediment out of the water system or the waters that pass through the township in simple terms. So a few years ago, actually in 2019, PennDOT came to Dawn in the township and our office and asked about a project to complete through the township park. What they're looking to do is to do natural stream restoration, which consists of putting in like rock veins, logs to that protect the embankments of the stream. They call these other things mud seals, but essentially what you do is you take a stream that's being eroded, you know, along the banks, and you prevent it from being that way by installing some in-stream types of things that help the creek get back to its kind of natural condition. So the value of this project that they want to put in is about $500,000. It would save the township, per the current permit requirement, about $225,000 if this is done. So we've been riding along with these guys, and the deadline's coming up in about a year to get something done. So we finally got an agreement from them in this plan, and that's why I'm bringing it to the board's attention that it is still a reality. PennDOT's ready to do it, but what it will require is work in the park, and it's not. It's pretty simple work, but it would be work in the stream and along the stream bank. That would be it. Would have to figure out access and other things that would make sure that they would not do anything detrimental to the park. But I've been involved in a number of these projects now, and they actually all come out and look really, really good when they're done because they do improve the quality of the stream. So the benefit here is the township gets to take the credit for your MS4 permit. You don't have to pay anything. The only thing you have to do is you have to agree to maintain it once it's installed. So really the next steps in this, they want the township to enter into an agreement. We have a copy of the agreement. We need to get it to Gretchen, get it out to the rest of the board. It's pretty simple agreement. It just basically holds the township responsible for the maintenance if they install it. And then they want a conservation easement to be established along the creek. Well, the conservation easement is really already there because you can't do anything along the creek or within 50 feet of the creek. So making an easement over top of it is really, it doesn't have any consequences at all. So I just want to bring this to your attention. We can just take those. The next steps again would be, dealing with the agreement and further looking at this plan. We've asked them for final plans. They've not given us final plans yet. This is all we have at this point.
Dan, who's going to do this work? PennDOT or Cecil?
PennDOT, no. PennDOT would pay for, Frank, they would actually put it out for bid. And they would pay a private contractor to put it in. There's people that's kind of specialize in these projects. There's sort of ecological restoration projects, and there's people that run around, that's all that they do are these types of projects.
Well, it may help, but I think a lot of our problems are upstream. like we get this surge of water down through our park in these heavy rains. I mean, it's coming from someplace else.
Sure. I mean, Miller's Run's a huge watershed. I mean, it's thousands of acres, you know, even behind here. But the idea is that, you know, over time, streams, and whether some of these things were done to the stream man-made or not, but what they do is some of these things cut down the velocity as the water comes through the stream. So there's like deflectors in there, and there's rock veins, and they use root balls and all these different types of neat natural things that kind of control the flow of the water so that it doesn't erode the banks of the stream. And you know, you don't lose any more of your park either, because, you know, when it erodes, you lose usable land. Say that 3 times.
Bill, you okay with maintaining embankments? The rocks.
Several years ago, we went to visit a demonstration project that PennDOT, CalU, and DEP all participated in up at California. The big benefit to it was the embankment stabilization. And we've got a severe erosion problem going on over here in the park. One of the features of the embankment stabilization is to use natural hickory logs, and they push those into the embankment to stabilize it. There's no rock lining. They frown upon putting rock lining. We've tried to minimize the rock lining that we do over here for that reason, because we've known about this project coming, you know. There's a number of different features that are deeper pools that'll hold the fish in heavy rainstorms and stuff like that. So there's a huge benefit. Natural grasses, rock veins, as Dan said. So once it's installed, and they do a really good job of the installation, I think the maintenance on it will be minimal.
Okay.
We're required to perform routine maintenance or routine inspection and routine long-term maintenance. So with the routine inspection, you nip things in the bud before they get out of control, and we're already over the park working, so it's,
Okay.
Plus, we'd have to maintain it anyhow, even if we did it on our own
we do, we
with our projects.
currently maintain that stream as best we can without, you know, violating some of the rules of the DEP. So, like I said, we've been trying to minimize how much rock we place along the embankments. We do it around our structures and stuff like that to minimize scarring and stuff.
Okay.
We've been reluctant to go up, say, for instance, up near Pavilion 3. If you look at that, that's a severe case of erosion right there. And normally, this happens with all streams. Where you have a deposit on one side of the stream, you have a scar on the other. Now, we've taken some of those deposits and moved them to try to keep that alignment, but it's beyond what we're capable of doing without a permit. So, and as a result, we're starting to lose some usable ground up at Pavilion 3, where there used to be a volleyball court. We had to take that out because it started to encroach upon the court itself, you know.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, thanks.
The big benefit is that I have other clients that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these projects. PennDOT's gonna put all the money into it. They get a credit, and the township gets a credit at the same time. And then when we get to the next permit cycle, they're doing more than it's even required. We'll be able to take advantage of it for the next permit cycle also. So it's even more valuable than, you know, than you believe. A lot of people.
Dan, could you speak to the limits? My understanding is the limits are from Glass Hill Road.
Correct. Glass Hill Road all the way down. They show it through the MCC property a little bit further down into there.
That sounds good.
Pretty good distance.
So I just want to bring it to your attention because it's not been on anybody's radar screen, and we'll keep it moving through the process.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
The next item is the LSA grant application. So there's been a grant pool that has come up. It's about $130 million. It's a new grant from through DCED. I spoke to the DCED person responsible for administrating or doing the grants here in our area. They're expecting a lot of applications. I discussed various projects with her. Her recommendation was to work on something that we don't already have in the planning process as it relates to Public Works. We're pretty far along with the building and other things. One of the things that's essential, obviously, is the salt storage facility. So if you recall, our site plan for the building, where's my plan? Oh, there we go. So this is the current plan for Public Works, and this was the location delineated for the salt storage area. So what we've done is we've at least went out and got a price related to this. The good thing about this match is, or the good thing about this LSA application is there's no match required. The type of facility we talked to Bill about doing is precast walls with like a tensioned, it's a fabric roof on it. It's something that it would be very efficient. The shape is good and so forth. So we're just asking the board, and I apologize for putting this on your regular agenda, but we didn't have much time. It's due on the 15th. So we've asked the board to approve the resolution for making the grant application, and that's the purpose of it. So the amount, I don't have in my fingertips, but it was somewhere in the range of $600,000. So
And you said it's due on the 15th?
it's due on the 15th, correct?
What size is this building?
75 by 100.
What do you have up there now?
Up here, I think it's 41 by 60.
Yes, so we're just, I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's an easy grant to get, to submit. All the planning work is already done. We just got a price. We submitted, and, you know, I think, you know, it's the right type of project to go for, and it won't affect what we're doing right now. It'll keep us on our timeline. If we get it, it can be something that can be added in. I'm just not sure when they're gonna come back with any awards on these, so, that's the reason, another reason why not to tie anything up in the current bidding of the township building, because we're trying to work to get that forward and move through the timeline as quickly as possible.
Since that's on the agenda, we can talk more about that when we go to approve it.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can move on to 5.
The last item is the, there was a letter sent from Mike Stewart regarding the Public Works project. Mike has requested that the township consider a change order for fuel escalation. I looked over the contract that we have on the project. I mean, we typically don't have fuel escalation in these types of projects, and I know we don't have fuel escalation on our bid specs. Nobody could have anticipated what's happening right now. But in addition to that, it's not a PennDOT contract, it's our contract, so it's really not in there. So in my humble opinion, it would be up to the board whether you want to consider that a change order. There is a method for doing it. PennDOT has a way to consider it based upon cubic yards of dirt moved, which we do have in the contract. Joe and I looked at that this afternoon and found out, we haven't found out all the information. But I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. Again, there's no decision on that being asked about that tonight. We just, again, wanted to bring it to the board's attention. We just got a call from Mike last week, and that's it.
Well, I spoke with Mike. He's burning 3,000 gallons a week. And it's up $2 a gallon. I really don't want to see him have to eat all that. That's my opinion.
You know, again, that's why I brought it to the board.
I don't believe we should go for this, and we shouldn't allow any escalation clauses, any contracts in our township. Speaking with Chairman Fisher about this, nobody gives us rebates or refunds when prices drop on asphalt or diesel fuel or different things.
Well, the only thing I can, not disagreeing with you, Frank, the only thing on PennDOT liquid fuels projects, when we use liquid fuels money on any of our PennDOT projects, we have to include a fuel escalation clause, because it's 408. You have to follow the 408, the 408 allows for it. But this contract, you don't.
I feel super torn about the whole thing. I have a lot of respect for Mike and Stewart Contracting, but to Frank Egizio's point, Supervisor Egizio's point, nobody is cutting us any slack right now because our costs are, so doesn't seem fair for us to have to bear the burden of increased costs for everything that we're doing and then not, and then give additional monies out because he's had a hardship. I don't know. I mean, we don't have to make a decision right now. If the board, Darlene, do you have any thoughts on it?
And he said to me that he would only ask for that during the moving of the dirt, the bulk dirt. The pipe work, he wouldn't ask for it. I mean,
I have nothing against the request either, but I'm just saying from a contract standpoint, I don't think you have to do it.
Right.
It's really a decision whether you want to do it.
Darlene, you were going to say something?
Yes, I'm thinking that can he cut corners somewhere else and not have as many trucks running or so on and so forth as far as the cost of the fuel and everything? The same thing is going to go for us all the way across the board. Our police department, what happens to that budget?
Exactly.
Our public works, what happens to that budget? We're in a world of hurt, and we got to tighten our belt because where are we going to get the money? We can't raise taxes.
Yeah, I think, let us think about it, Dan, and I feel for him, but Darlene, Supervisor Barney's right. Like, we're all facing that same increase across the board, so we can't just hand out money because they are facing the same thing that we're facing. So we'll think about it, but for right now, I would say we need some time.
Okay.
Moving on to resolutions. 054-2022, consider setting a date for a public hearing regarding rezoning application 2021-0033 for Silver Creek. Location Silver Creek Lane, McDonald. Requested change from R1 low density to R2 medium density residential zoning district. Applicant Miranda Homes. All we need to do on this is set a date. It seems like everybody's kind of busy this week coming up. What's everybody's calendar look like the week after? I know, do Mondays still generally work for everyone? Yes?
doesn't matter
What
to
about
me, whatever.
Monday, March 21st? Does that work? 7 p.m.?
Did you say March 21st?
I'm sorry? I think there's only one item before you guys for that, so we could maybe, and I don't think ours would take very long, so maybe you could go first and we'll go second. We'll share space. So we'll set that for Monday, March 21st. Let's start that at 7:30 so that we'll give zoning hearing an opportunity to get their meeting done with. $55,022, consider rezoning application 2021-0039 for 0 West End Drive, location West End Drive, McDonald. Requested change from R3 Village Residential to C1 General Commercial Zoning District. Applicants Roland and Lynn Gaglia. The Planning Commission recommended approval on December 12, 2021. This was the conditional use hearing that we heard, what was it, last month, before last month's meeting? Any
You said
comments?
that the planning commission made a recommendation just to have the hearing. Is that what I just heard?
It said recommended approval.
Of having a hearing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
I
think,
don't think they would have recommended the rezoning.
you don't
change.
recommend the planning commission wouldn't recommend approval of the conditional use because they
No,
don't
no,
hear
I
it.
know. I'm talking about the rezoning request.
Right.
their approval was that we have the hearing. They weren't approving that we approve the
Right,
zoning change.
right, I'm agreeing with you,
Okay, well, that's what I was asking.
yes.
You just said that they recommended approval.
Well, that's,
what it
I'm just
says on
reading
the
what it
agenda.
says. That's what it says on there, but yes,
Yeah, Liz-
they don't
Liz wrote
recommend
that.
approval of the conditional use. They recommend that we hold a hearing. It is misleading in the wording of the actual thing, but yes,
No,
we're,
no, they're talking about rezoning. This doesn't refer to the conditional use right now.
Yeah, this is the rezoning.
oh, yeah, you're
request.
right, you're right. So they wouldn't have recommended, no, so
And they
that's
ultimately will make a recommendation if they entertain it
correct.
for a zoning
So did it even
change.
go before planning? No. Why did it go before planning? For what?
The only thing they could have acted on was that we have the hearing,
Right,
not whether we approve anything.
right,
All right.
okay. Are there any comments by the
She's
board?
coming to the board for it? Is there somebody coming to the podium?
I'll let her talk in a second. First, before we move on,
Yeah,
We're not voting on this or nothing, right?
yeah, we can tonight.
I understood that we had a lot of questions. I thought we were waiting to hear more answers from them before we.
I think she's here. Do you have, you can come to the microphone.
Hello again. Jackie Cardoni speaking. I actually did bring the flash drive. I'm not sure if it did get presented to you guys. I emailed it over after the last hearing or meeting. I can plug it in. It is a lot of information. I think after just simply stating everything, going back to what you guys do consider under C1 with your ordinances, I do believe we're under 5 acres. So anything that would be a burden to the R3 that is already existing there, that you are concerned about with traffic, anything going forward, like if Michael Pugliano decided to sell the property down the road, it's only going to benefit those residential homes. So I do
Beg to
have a
differ with
list
that
of everything.
How's it gonna benefit them?
How?
Yes.
Because everything that is approved by you guys under C1 with all setbacks and acreage that we have already on that, you can't make the parcel any bigger.
Well, you stated last time that the reason you would like to see it C1 was when they go to sell it, they can get more money.
I spoke out of term, and what I meant by bringing value to the property, we already appraised for what we paid for the property. The money's already there, not looking at it from the real estate side of things, but bringing the value to the property for its specific use. To build residential back there is going to be very difficult. I mean, you have Stevenson equipment right across I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. There's a lot of people here. But you have them right across the street, or across the creek, I should say. That's an eyesore. So if anybody like Miranda or even a individual contractor coming in to do any more single-family, split those parcels, that's gonna be a lot of work. And like I said, we're only under 5 acres, and only 3 of that is really buildable. But we still have to abide by the setbacks that you guys require. So how many homes are you really thinking to put back there?
You saying Stevenson equipment is an eyesore?
I mean,
They're one of the neatest businesses you'll ever find.
I'm not saying that, I mean, would you, I guess that is an opinion, but for any residential home to be built there, I mean, there's not a lot of trees, there's nothing to really, I mean, there's a lot of industrial around you. So if you are a new development, are you going to take that into consideration? I would say yes. I mean, personal opinion. Like I said, I spoke out of term last time with about value of everything. We've already went through the sale process. We already have the value. It is what it is.
So let me ask you this, because it does sound like there was a lot of information that wasn't presented to us. I don't want to spend a lot of time tonight, but I also don't want to short you the opportunity to present us because you didn't have your flash drive last time. I don't want to say you weren't prepared. That makes it sound, that's not what I meant. But like, there wasn't the proper presentation. We can take the vote tonight, or we can postpone this and we can do it another night. So you could even probably come on the 21st
Okay.
And you could do your presentation again, you could answer the board's questions, and then it would be put on our, what month is this, March, April agenda for a vote then. I would need my other board members to approve, but to be fair to you, so that you do have the opportunity to show us a flash drive.
I mean, when it comes down to it, is literally just the memorandum stating everything that you guys wanted from our application, what the property, the history of the property has been used as. I think the biggest thing for me and for Mike Pagliano for what he wants to do, yes, his non-conforming use was granted to him for his storage and the HVAC and everything, but if he actually wants to move his business and run his office out of there and meet all terms of Cecil's board, he would have to be rezoned C1. So, and that is, I mean, you guys have a list of things, and if it's going to be, it's not a planned, hold on one second. Planned even shopping center isn't gonna fit there. So, like, that would be high traffic for those residential R3 people that are currently existing there. I mean, and for the amount of work that Mike's putting into this building, if that ever were to sell, no one's going to deconstruct that building and take it down and start all over. It's just, I mean, from the real estate side of things, I don't think it's practical. It's a beautiful building. It's a great lot to be.
Let me stop you for 1 second. Let me talk to, do you want to continue this evening?
No, that's the point. That wasn't accurate what she said, that to do that HVAC business, if he chose to move it there, it doesn't require it to be commercial. The zoning board already granted them the right as an equal or less business that he wanted to propose there, so.
It's just for storage. I have it right here.
All right,
And
so
I-
I'm just saying, we had all these questions to answer. Before we even said I'd agree to have a hearing on the zoning request, we need to get that information that she has, that we didn't see yet. I know, I mean, we'll get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of where, like, I thought everything would have been presented. So for what the non-conforming use is, it's just for storage. It is
What do you
not
mean
for
you
business.
thought this is where it would have been presented? At our board meeting?
No, I mean, all the information that I had given with my application. I thought it was already going to be presented for you guys to overlook.
Well, again, I'm not trying to call you out as unprepared, but like we were prepared, we held a hearing. We gave you an evening to present to us, and there was nothing brought to us to review. There was no flash drive, there was nothing. So I think at this point, if I'm hearing you correct, Tom, I think we're gonna table this. I have to, again, confirm with my other board members, and then we'll give you the opportunity to come and present and answer the questions again, and then it will be voted on.
I would 100% appreciate that.
Okay, so is everyone, I'll make a motion to table this.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So you'll come on March 21st.
At 7, what time?
Come at 7:30. There's going to be a presentation from Rhonda Holmes. I don't know how long it's going to take, so I don't know what time to tell you to come, but we'll do both at 7:30.
Print out a few copies if anybody.
I would say come prepared that evening. Come prepared that evening with your flash drive, with your papers, with the stuff that we need to see that evening, so that we can look through it at that point in time and hear you out, and then we'll take a vote in April.
Is there anything specifically that you guys are really looking for that can?
I don't have
justify-
my notes in front of me, but there was a list of things that we asked you guys for that evening that we kind of left hanging. So,
And all of that was, my only last thing that I really need to do is get something signed from those R3 residents that are already there stating that they would not mind the change. I think that's the only thing I'm missing. Other than that, everything I have totally backs up the rezoning of it. I mean, I do understand it's spot zoning, but to push forward, use the property at its highest and best use, I believe I have everything to go through that.
I'll take a copy.
You want to take a copy? I got it for you. Thank you, guys.
oops. Okay. 056, 2022, consider conditional use application 2022-0002 for new home construction at 21 Muse Bishop Road, Cannonsburg, in the C2 Convenience Commercial Zoning District. Applicant Robert McCallsky. The Planning Commission recommended approval on February 17th, 2022. Board members have any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 570022, consider adopting the standard DEP resolution for the sewage facilities planning module for the Elish Plan of Lots. This planning module proposes on-lot sewage servicing 2 residential lots and has been approved by the Washington County Sewage Council. Location Tar Heights Drive, Cannonsburg, R2 Medium Density Residential Zoning District. Applicant George Elish.
So this is, I just brought this through the board. This is the plan. This is one parcel now. Looking to split this up into 2 parcels, one of about 11 acres, and the other one another 8 acres, I believe. So the planning module, they did the, they checked it for an on-lot system. That's 8 acres, the second lot. They've checked it for the on-lot system, and it's all in order, so it's just a standard to do that. This hasn't been to the Planning Commission or been to you guys to be approved in terms of the subdivision. They're just trying to move along the planning module, which isn't unusual. So I don't have, it's in order for your consideration.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 058, 2022, consider the Cecil Township Planning and Zoning 2021 Annual Report. The report received Planning Commission approval on February 17th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Everybody say yes, sorry. Passes 5-0. 59022, consider the approval of the development agreement for grading between SPB Holdings and Cecil Township.
This is the one that I reviewed with the board under discussion the last time. This is Tom Robinson's property that's located over off of Morganza Road and along the South Point Boulevard interchange. So Gretchen has reviewed the agreement. I think it's in order. Again, this is for grading. If the board approves this tonight, this agreement would go along with a grading permit to be issued administratively by the office. We typically don't do these, but the ordinance allows for it for larger type long-term projects, and I think it's a good thing to have in place. Everybody knows the rules.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 060, 2022, consider authorizing the bidding in the Montour Trail connection to Reserve Drive. This is the grant that we got, correct? That's correct. This is the grant we got last year.
It brings the Montour Trail up to the, these plans are a little bit small. But this is the connection that brings, this is the Montour Trail where my cursor is going in this direction. So we're bringing up a trail that's going to follow up, switch back because it has to be a certain gradient. And then it will take it all the way up to the driveway that Matt Gelati put in. Matto's is a sidewalk that's going to take us up the Reserve Drive. And then there'll be 2 other sections of this to be built and bid separately to connect it from Reserve along Klinger, and then a short piece of Klinger to take it over to or a short piece to get it over to corporate, and then it'll be into the sidewalk system of South Point. So it's been a long time coming. It took a long time to get this permit, as every permit is anymore. But the permit's being typed right now, and we're ready to put this thing out to bid. So I'd say it's a good time to bid it if we can get it out. Value of the project's about $250,000 through the grant.
That's awesome.
Dan, I have a question. Where is it gonna cross Klinger to get up to the South Point walkways?
It'll come down Reserve, you know where the apartments are?
Yes?
And then it'll cross to the other side, and then we'll build a bituminous, like a bituminous trail along that side of Klinger that sits down from,
The Hilton Garden Inn and the,
yeah, that sits
The
down
old
from.
Mylan building?
Crown, you know where Crown's headquarters are?
yes,
It'll run along the edge of Crown's property and make the bend and go up to the intersection of Corporate.
okay.
So there's three sections. There's a section along Reserve, or this section here. The second section takes it down Reserve, and then the third section puts it on Klinger and brings it over to Corporate.
Okay.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 063, 2022, hold on, yeah. Sorry, I skipped that. 061, 2022, consider awarding the Coleman Road retaining wall project to Sarchek Excavating LLC in the amount of $90,780.
So we took bids on March 22nd. We received 5 bids. The low bidder was, I'm not even going to try to say it, Cindy. You did it. You did it well.
Slu Sarchik.
I asked Frank before the meeting, if I'm being honest. I asked Supervisor Gizio, I'm like, I need help with this one.
So it's a good bid. Our estimate was $129,000. That's what we were carrying in the budget. So it came in well under that. The contractor, Joe, has experience working with them on other projects. I've never worked with them, but he tells me they're good, and we're recommending the award.
Do I have a motion?
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion. I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 062, 2022. Consider adopting the standard resolution for submission of an LSA grant for the construction of a salt storage building at the Public Works site along Klinger Road.
I'll make a motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 063, 2022, consider ordinance 2, 2022, an ordinance modifying the UDO by deleting and replacing the sign regulations.
So I understand on this one, the South Point businesses had some additional concerns that now we're looking at, so it's not quite ready. I would recommend tabling it, postponing it until April, so that we can consider their requests and see if there are any additional changes that need to be made. And if they're not significant, another hearing isn't required. If there were significant changes for your consideration, there would be another hearing.
I'll make a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's been tabled. 064, 2022, consider a contract with Bulldog Tree Service in the amount of $16,875 for the removal of 4 trees affecting vehicle traffic on North DePauli Road. We've gotten several complaints by residents who live on North DePauli about unsafe conditions. Ron, you went up and, didn't you go up and look at them?
Yeah, there's one that's, well, they're all very dangerous, and they need to be removed.
Right.
And luckily for us, the residents living across the road are taking the wood. So we'll have to pay them to haul it all away.
Yeah.
My understanding is, Bill, they're gonna cut it in 8-foot lengths.
Thank you.
Did we take other bids on this?
We did.
Yeah.
We solicited from 5 and got responses back from 2. And Bulldog was the lowest.
Okay.
These must be pretty big trees, huh?
They're huge.
Oh, they're huge.
We're talking,
Erosion came around these trees,
yeah, we're talking
so their impact has.
$4,000 a tree.
Oh, they're huge. Ron saw them. They're huge.
Yeah, one's very, very dead.
Yeah.
Good price.
And I'm surprised it hasn't come down like today or last week.
Yeah.
And like Bill said, they're paved right around them.
Yep. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
You guys better buy a chainsaw. There's a lot of wood there.
065-2022, consider a one-year contract with Fairfield Landscaping for turf applications at the 3 fields of Klinger Park at a cost of $11,427.50. We were notified by CMYSA, who has been doing this for the past few years, that they would no longer be participating. They actually notified Supervisor Cassiola. They didn't even have the courtesy to notify the township directly. And so we're kind of up against a wall for 1 year just to have to take on this payment. I will tell you, I've already rented out that field for 1 day in April. We can have this conversation later, but should this board be interested, we can more than make up the cost of this, the cost of this, should we want to rent Klinger further than 1 day. But we have no choice at this point, unfortunately, because they decided to just stop paying.
So is this for a whole year?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are we going to rent it out at all and get?
That's the hope. If you're okay with it, and I plan to discuss that when we get to another motion in the future, but, and I can, but there's, North Shore Bain rents their fields for $100 an hour. South Point Fieldhouse rents their field for $550 an hour. I already have extreme interest, and I can work with Jack on renting that out. We will more than cover the cost of this.
Had 3 fields up there, or is that
There's
just
2 usable right now.
2 usable?
Yeah.
One they're still working on, developing.
Yeah, it should be ready soon. It may even be ready this spring, but there's definitely 2 fields that we could rent out.
To clarify something, though, I never talked to anybody from that league.
Fairfield.
Fairfield contacted and says that the league said they aren't going to do it anymore.
Right.
So I got the information from Fairfield, not.
I thought that's what I
CM.
said. You're right,
Yeah,
sorry.
all right.
Sorry, I apologize if I misspoke. He did say that when he called, that the communication came from Fairfield. CMYSA did not even have the courtesy to let us know at the township directly. We heard from Fairfield.
So
In the future, I would ask Bill to do this. Sorry, Bill. But we didn't want to back him against a corner because it needed to be started next week. So we'll do this for 1 year. Sorry, darling, go ahead.
So we should reclaim all this 11,425
plus.
by rental
Oh, plus, yeah. Should we?
time. It's
The only thing about rental, that make sure they provide insurance coverage
Yeah. It would
for
be
anybody
required.
that's there.
Yep, it would be required. Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 66-2022, consider authorizing the solicitor to file a lawsuit related to the termination of the Klinger Park license agreement if a settlement agreement cannot be reached. That's what I was talking about when I said, right now, we're locked in a deadlock with CMYSA related to their position versus our position of how the Klinger Park agreement reads. They think they have complete control of the park, and we think right now they have right of first refusal. Darlene, you and I have talked about this several times. They claim to use it every single day, all the time, from Sunday to Saturday, and I've been up there documenting over the past 2 years where that's just not factually accurate. And the township has lost significant funds, as well as the future as development of the park over the past 10 to 12 years, because we've essentially allowed them to use it rent-free. We don't do that for any other sports organization. We don't do it for baseball. We don't do it for softball, lacrosse, or anything else. Like I said a few minutes ago, North Shore Bain rents their field for $100 an hour. South Point Fieldhouse rents theirs for $550 an hour. We're not looking to make money, but we are looking to cover our costs, and we are looking to do future development there that's been hindered by our current agreement and our current deadlock with CMYSA. So that's why, obviously, this was a last resort related to where we wanted to go. We had hoped that talks and communications with them would have led to some sort of settlement agreement. Unfortunately, that has not happened. So that's where this is at this point. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, can I speak on?
Please just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Crystal Gable. My address is 112 Latimer Avenue, Strabane. I'm actually here with Canamac Soccer Association. Just so you guys know, Canamac has 500 plus Canamac students that utilize that complex on a weekly basis. With no lights and stuff like that, we can't be up there past dark, so we're up there during the day after school hours, during the school. We have maintained the complex for 9+ years with limited help from the township, which is required per the agreement. We also have approved bid of an agency to start corporate fundraising. We also have spent over $50,000 in field treatment applications over the past 9+ years, same as what we just mentioned to be done by Fairfield at $3,809 per field, and have never asked for any reimbursements or compensation by the township. We also have spent over $50,000 in improving the park for soccer-related activities. We have pledged another $100,000 towards the development of the park while we find corporate sponsors. That's everything that the Canamac Youth Soccer Association has been doing.
Where'd you spend the money improving the field?
Where do we spend the money?
Yeah.
We do the field treatments.
No, the other one, improving the field. I'm not talking about,
The parking, the hillside, stuff like that. we have
no,
done.
no.
I'm aware that you were, like, I don't know how new you are to the board, and I don't want to call you out, like, specifically, but a lot of the information that you just rattled off has been disproven. And
I have facts, I have papers, I have everything to back me up on it. And
we've seen.
anything legal can go, so, you know, all this can be discussed between the attorneys and stuff like that.
We've tried. We've
I
tried.
know we've also been, you know, trying to come forward, and we've even asked for a meeting and never heard anything back from that neither. So
Wait, time out. So that's not true. So we held a meeting when December. We held a meeting in December between our attorney from Gretchen's office, Robin Eisen, and an attorney from CMYSA. None of your board members attended. I attended, and you were there, right, Frank? No. Oh, Dan was there. We were told by your attorney, and I don't want to get into the details because of where we're most likely headed, but we were told by your attorney that that CMYSA believed that it was exclusively your field and that the township didn't have a right. I'd also like to point out publicly that the township has offered numerous times to cut the grass and do the field maintenance. I have it documented from Mr. Glancy that you've denied those. I would also like to point out that we've been trying for years, literally years, specifically very hard over the past 2 to 3 years, but really over the past 10 years to get CMYSA to engage in fundraising. We've even attended meetings at Crown Castle, which members of your board have refused to participate in. I would also like to point out that you guys collect a fundraising fee of $40 per family from every child, and you've done it all the way back to 2013, and we've seen $0. And we saw your list of improvements at the park, which you count as weed and grass control and a quarter of a fence around the edge of the field. The point is, you've been allowed to utilize that field undisputed for 10 years. We've repeatedly asked for members of CMYSA to participate with our board. As you heard me say, we've lost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you've collected, not you personally, but CMYSA has collected hundreds of thousands of dollars from their families, to which you've given Cecil Township $0 towards the development of that field. And yes, there's the dangling of this potential $100,000, but we've asked repeatedly for it, and we're told, here's a letter, wait, we're taking back that letter because it wasn't board approved. Wait, here's this letter again. Okay, send us this letter, to which we've never gotten. So we've heard your talking points over and over again. We're done with the talking points. We've met with you. We've always got the arms crossed. This is our field to use with how we see fit. We're moving on.
We never said we wouldn't work with, it was in the agreement, if I'm not mistaken, that anybody who rents the field or potentially wants to use the fields, we have to be notified as well as you guys have to be notified in order for that organization or
So I did,
now to use that field or to rent out the field.
so when I did rent out the field April 2nd, I did send an email to Steve Glancy, Steve Porter, because they're listed on CMYSA's website as your presidents. I also sent an email to Cannon Macmillan Youth Soccer at gmail.com or whatever was also listed on your website. I copied your attorney. I got 0 response. You also have,
Response to that email.
hold on.
To you guys regarding it. And we were waiting for a response from you guys on that.
I did not get a response from anyone. Yeah, I didn't get a response to that. And I would also like to point out that you have in the past, not you, but CMYSA in the past has rented the fields out yourselves, to which, again, you did not ask permission, you did not communicate with us, nor did you provide us any of those funds. And I can, again, prove that if you would like to.
Point of order here. I mean, we're talking about a motion that says if a settled agreement cannot be reached. Let's do that first. Let's have that settlement, but it shouldn't be here in the public meeting.
We've tried, Tom, my point though is we've tried.
I think we should go on, move on.
We've tried. I don't know how many of your board members, like, we are done, like, we're just kicking this can farther and farther down the road. We've
What if
tried.
the motion says that we're going to authorize the solicitor to file a lawsuit at Premier Park if a settlement agreement cannot be reached? That's what the motion is here, so let's just go through with that.
Well, apparently it can't be reached, Tom.
I would like to amend the
the
motion
guy-
to say,
Why is that if in there?
because I wrote it that, or because Gretchen and I wrote it that way because I had wanted to, but the point is, like, you, like, with all due respect, and again, I'm not coming after you, like, our frustration is with CMYSA, like, and I don't know who you are or really who you are, but none of you have participated in any of the communication that we've had up until this point. It has been one individual who,
I'll hit you back on that. The one time you did hold a meeting in this building in Generation with just us and yourself, I was at that meeting.
that's because I came to your board meeting.
No, that was your meeting that you asked us to attend.
I came to your board meeting.
We held it right here.
With your board meeting, with your board members.
Say with our boards, I was at that meeting.
Okay, so one time I came to you.
I personally haven't been at meetings because I have been at a meeting with you, personally.
One time in 10
Is
years.
this the place to be talking about any of these?
Well, you wanted it public. Yes, I want it on the public because quite frankly, I'm tired. Quite frankly, I'm tired of asking. We've invited CMYSA to participate over and over and over again. You have one individual board member who sits at every single one of these things with his arm crossed. This is our field. I started this. He refuses to participate. We are where we are because of that individual board member with CMYSA. We are done. My opinion, I'm done asking. We've asked over and over and over again. We are now saddled with a $12,000 bill that we weren't anticipating because CMYSA notified Fairfield that they're no longer going to do field maintenance. Okay, that's fine. It's our field. We'll take it over. But then we're going to rent it out to cover this cost because I am not going to burden Cecil Township taxpayers with this bill because Cannon Mac Soccer decided they're no longer going to do it. No problem. We'll do it, but we're going to rent it out to cover that cost. Anybody on the board have a differing opinion?
No, I agree with you.
We gave you the opportunity. We invited your attorney here. He literally sat here, and I wish Gretchen isn't handling this from her office, Robin, but Dan, you'll vouch for this. He literally sat here and said, it's our field, we get the use. We said, that's the position CMYSA is taking. He said, yes, that is the position CMYSA is taking. We said, there's no negotiating about this. He said, no. Okay.
Move on.
Move on. So I'm gonna amend this motion to say, consider authorizing the solicitor to file a lawsuit related to termination of Klinger license agreement. Is there a second to amending the motion?
Can I talk first? My name's Paul Marks, 120 Briarwood Drive. I'm also
What's your address, I'm sorry?
120 Briarwood Drive.
Okay.
Okay. I'm also a Cecil Township resident. I'm part of the Cannon Mac Soccer Association. I'm commissioner for our Route 1955 League. okay? I'm not on the actual board. So any of these meetings that were held, I believe that we should have had the whole board, not just you and the other two people you're talking about, should have been able to be there,
You
okay?
mean my whole board or your whole board?
Our whole board.
So do
I
you-
mean, every commissioner that holds a position has a voting right on this board, because
Can I-
we never were. Okay?
Can I show you, I would be happy to show you the emails that were sent over and over and over again, and I'll just use his name, to Steve Glancy and Steve Porter requesting that your entire board be able to participate. I'll just put it out there. My brother-in-law, until recently, was on CMYSA's board. He was kicked off without notification and without ever being told any of this stuff. My point is, we've asked. We've asked. I went over and above and.
But you're holding this against the whole association over two people now. It's going to affect a lot of kids.
You
Okay,
got-
our season starts, we got that notification from you Friday or whenever, about you renting the field. That's less than a month before our season starts.
You mean the April 2nd?
Yes, yeah.
Because on Thursday, I found out that we were having to cover the cost of field maintenance. So I reached,
Again, these are things that, again, we
so I did,
get our board together, all together, before
what was your name? I'm sorry again.
Paul Marks.
Paul, with all due respect, we've tried. We've tried for years. To her point, I came to a meeting of your board members to try to talk about negotiations. I had another one of your board members show up at our meetings. He came to me. I tried to explain everything. He said he'd reach out to other people and I'd hear from him. We cannot continue to ask. This has been sitting out there for 12 years with literally no improvements. It looks no different for the most part than it did 12 years ago.
I can speak to the fact that you're putting out a lot of kids in this community. if
Darlene, can
take
you
it all.
speak to that?
That's
How
my
could
point.
that, with all due respect, how could that possibly be?
She wanna know if you can speak to
Because
the
we
fact
play our
that they
home
haven't
games
done
up there,
nothing in January.
Saturday
So,
and Sunday.
so you say that,
Practice.
but because of what was going on, I made it a point to go up every single Saturday, every single Sunday, and almost every single weeknight throughout the fall. Let me tell you how pleased my husband was with me about that. But I made it a point to go up there. Do you know how many beautiful Saturday mornings or beautiful Sundays or beautiful Tuesday
Soccer
evenings?
season or not soccer
Darlene,
season?
will you back me up on this? But that's the point. Like, some of them are from September, some of them are from October, some of them are from November.
Soccer season, we were up there playing. There's no doubt.
I'm happy to.
Right.
So then you should, and I'm not saying you, CMYSA or the people that represent you, which you guys put into positions of power, i.e. the presidents, should have better represented you, and instead of sitting in our meetings with arms crossed saying this is our field to do with what they want, you should have said, hey, these are the months that we use it the most. Can we have priority use during the months of September, October, and April and May, and we will work with the township to fundraise so that the rest of the community can use it the rest of the time. The point is, that is absolutely not what has happened, and it is our field. And if we have to go to court,
Your field, not the community's field. It's the board's field. It's the township's field.
it is the township's field, yes. It is Cecil Township's field, yes. So I don't go to North Strabane meetings and demand use of their field. And it is Cecil Township's field, yes, it is. It is our field, and we have wanted for 12 years for our community members to use it, not exclusively CMYSA soccer members, our community members.
With you there, but again, you're holding a lot of kids.
Then you know who you need to have an issue with, or your board presidents, who have held this information from you.
No going forward with new board. If we get a new board on there, you're still gonna try to kick us out.
What do you mean if you are you getting a new board?
If we can get new people on our board that are willing to sit down and talk with y'all again, start a new conversation. There's just no point in, I think kicking these kids.
What is the likelihood that that would happen?
Very likely if we want to keep our use of Klinger.
What?
I've given,
You
I've
ha-
second
how
our
quickly-
meeting
how
of
quick-
our board so we can talk this over.
But see, here's the problem.
Saturday.
So so let me give you a little bit of background information. So we had a meeting with a potential community partner in, Dan, what was that, in April of last year? We were told that we would have a plan from CMYSA by the beginning of June, okay? So beginning of June,
Somebody on our board.
your president, your current board presidents. So we waited, beginning of June came and went, we didn't get any information. So at the end of June, after giving almost an additional 30 days for this plan, I sent an email.
See all this information?
Absolutely, I would be more than happy to show you.
Seeing all
So
of it.
stick around after this meeting and I'll show you.
Yes, ma'am.
So at the end of June, I sent a follow-up email, no response. I waited another week, I sent a follow-up email. I got an email from that individual that he was out of town and that he would provide something within the week. I waited another week and a half, I didn't get a response. I was on vacation myself, I sent a follow-up email. We're now at the end of July. I get an email from that individual that says he's emailing me, keep in mind, but he's emailing me from a place without internet service. I don't know where that is in 2022, but he's somewhere without internet service sending me an email, and he would have a plan for me by the end of July. End of July comes and goes, nothing. Beginning of August comes and goes, we send him a thing that says we're done. We're out, we've given you more than enough time at this point. He types together in what I would guess is maybe 5 minutes, a plan, a future promise, and that's the problem here. We are always betting on this future promise, this future. You know how many years I've been hearing about this company that you're hiring to,
This is the first I've heard of.
well, I
mean,
can
it's
show
like-
you emails back to 2015 where you hired this company, and you know how many dollars we've seen from it? Zero. So the point with all of this is, we're not interested in a future promise. If you can turn your board over in a week and come to us with people who are really ready to sit down and develop this, like playground, pickleball court, the way that it used to sit in our lobby and intended, we will have a conversation. Otherwise, we're moving forward with terminating the agreement, and we're going to do it ourselves. Because CMYSA, your presidents are okay with status quo, and we are not. That's what it comes down to.
Just realize how much it's going to affect the kids at play.
Yeah, another question though is, you got charged, every parent had to pay $40. You're
I'm
saying,
one of those parents.
wait, you said 500 some kids, right?
I didn't say that, but
Well,
I don't know those.
the
numbers.
$40 was to go to Klinger Park. They didn't spend it up there.
The email said hold on, let me pull it up. For the development, I mean, honestly, you're bordering on fraud at that point, but like, hold on, let me find it. Hold on. Bear with me 1 second, and I can read you the email, the wording of the email. I have quite a few. I don't want to table it for a month. I want to move forward.
After.
I'll show you after, but CMYSA sends out an email and says that, hold on 1 second, that you are fundraising $40 per family specifically for development of Klinger Park. None of us have seen a penny, so what are you doing with it? Because it isn't coming to the township for the deal. And we'll show you. Look, I would be willing to give you 1 week to flip your board and bring people who are willing to have, but we've kicked this can down the road. We missed yet another,
Meeting because I work out of town most times. Usually I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So I'll amend this motion and say, consider authorizing the solicitor to file lawsuit related to termination of Klinger Park license agreement if settlement agreement cannot be reached by the end of next week.
Next week, next Friday.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do I have a second to
I
that?
make a motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. And I did, for the record too, like I did some research just on my own. Like I said, the rental fee is in excess of $900,000 that South Point Fieldhouse uses to rent their one turf field. We have 2 fields up there. So, anyways. All right. 67, 2022, consider award of bid for the 2015 Ford Explorer for Simonelli in the amount of $4,102.
I'll make a motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 068, 2022, consider award of bid for the 2006 Ford Explorer to William Kinder in the amount of $1,750. Wow, that's all we got?
I'll make a
I guess it is
motion.
an 06. It's an 06, yeah, sorry. In my brain, I read that as 2016, sorry. All right. Is there a motion?
I made a motion.
Is it moved and seconded? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Consider trade-in of 2010 Case 580 Super M3 Plus backhoe to Groff Tractor in the amount of $28,000. The unit was advertised for sale on Municipid with 0 bids. Wow, thanks.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 70, 2022, consider the transfer of Cecil Township parcel ID 140-007-00-00-000802 to Southbridge EMS. I want to add something to that motion, pending legal review or legal opinion.
Right.
Pending legal,
Pending a positive legal opinion.
pending a
from
positive
us.
legal opinion from Gretchen. That's just the parcel of land that their building already sits on so that they can expand. There's no need for us to be owners of that parcel. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion for that.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Congratulations. 071, 2022, consider a proposal by Toshiba for a 39-month lease for a 1 HP XL 3600 MFP large format printer at a monthly rate of $546.81. This proposal is a CoStar's contract item number 001055. Wow, that's expensive.
Can we look into cost of purchasing this? What's the difference?
Yeah, an outright
Question.
purchase is roughly $23,000.
20, but in 3 years, we're spending $19,685, I believe, in a 3-year lease.
That's correct.
And at the end of 3 years, we still need a printer.
Right, and it's generally because technology with the large format printers, generally that's about what their last,
Does it include maintenance?
it does, it has a maintenance and service agreement with it, yes.
Okay.
So then after the 3 years, we just go into another lease and something updated.
To the copier lease, yes.
Consider, okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 72, 2022, consider the purchase of 2 Ford SUV police vehicles for $85,570 as per the approved 2022 budget. This is a CoStar's purchase. It's my understanding, Sean, that these probably won't be received anytime soon.
Yes, due to the chips and just the production. And of course, if we don't get them in a certain time, they stop production on all vehicles for 2022, and we'll have to wait till 2023 if we don't meet that deadline.
Sounds good. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes 5-0. 73, 2022, consider the Board of Supervisors minutes from the Monday, February 7th, 2022, regular monthly meeting.
So moved.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. 74, 2022, consider the general fund invoices from February 1st through February 28th, 2022.
So moved.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Quickly, before we move on to citizens' comments and questions, I want to bring up something that's been of interest late. I don't know how many of you drive on 50 from the 4-lane to the 2-lane, but all of a sudden PennDOT decided that instead of merging left, that we needed to merge right. We had no notification, and by we, I mean Bill, Sean, Dawn, any of our board members knew that that change was going to happen. Literally, it makes zero sense. It says left lane ends, the left lane does not end. The right lane really ends because the right lane's a turning lane. I have no idea. We've been back, Dawn, Sean, and I have been back and forth with Jason or T-Ty all day and PennDOT, and I can briefly read you what their response was, but it doesn't sound like they're gonna change it. My suggestion was, or Jason's suggestion was, and I said it to Dawn, was that maybe we need to call them here to hear from us, because quite frankly, it's going to cause an accident. You can't change 45 or 50 years worth of traffic patterns without any notifications, and honestly, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So his response, and I don't know why this isn't opening. All of my technology is currently frozen, bear with me. Was that they got a complaint from a business on the south side of PA. Sorry. Anyway, they got a complaint, and that they said they looked into it, and that there were crashes. How they know that, I have no idea, because they did not reach out to you, Sean. So they're saying, oh, here it is. They're saying that, so they said, we got a complaint from a business on the south side of PA 50 in this area. They said drivers were racing to beat each other to a merge point and crashing in front of their business. There were crashes there, and they sent pictures. We took a look at it, and it's a layout that we typically have problems with. We called for signage and pavement markings, changes to clean it up and make it safer. We've gotten complaints this morning, and we're responding to them. That's Dawn, me, and Sean. But I'm not willing to let this go, because quite honestly, their signage makes absolutely no sense, and Jason feels the same way, and I think everybody does. My intent is to ask them to come to a public meeting, but also, if the board's okay with it, Dan, can you reach out? Didn't Wooster do a traffic study for Silver Creek in that area?
Yes.
Can we pull that, and if that has any information, if not, can you have Mike Haberman look at it, and then potentially have Gretchen send them a letter? Because if somebody gets hurt, it's going to be on PennDOT. Because it literally is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
We'll get some information.
Okay. Are you okay, guys, with this, with having Gretchen send a letter, should we need to try to get them to understand that this is not safe or smart?
Well, somebody has to, because the way it is right now, if you're turning on Rising Road, you're in the left lane, and you're going to have to stop. And people are not going to stop. Somebody's going to get rear-ended. It makes absolutely zero sense. And if you do make the turn, you're going to be cutting in front of the car coming up 50. So they're going to stop, and they're going to get rear-ended. Nope. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It really is. It makes zero sense. So.
And on another note, just while we're talking about PennDOT, Jason Ortita today and me negotiated. PennDOT's going to be down here next Monday from DePauli Road down to the end of the 4-lane, and they're going to clean all the storm sewers out. Bill's going to keep an eye on them, because we're getting a lot of flooding along that road.
Good job. Thank you. But in any case, we're not letting this go because it's stupid and it makes zero sense. So I know I've had a lot of people reach out to me. I think, Dawn, you've had some people. Sean, you've had some people. We are working on it to try to get it fixed, because I have no good explanation. And they said there's pavement markings. I've driven by there probably 7 times today, and I didn't see a single pavement markings.
They intend to put pavement markings.
When?
I
Like
suggested
3 years from now?
I suggested that those should have been
Yeah.
performed at the same time, or at least be preemptive with signs, say, when you're changing a traffic pattern, you need to alert the motoring public. I mean, it's,
Well, Sean had his message board up there for at least, what, a month?
right, saying
On
to
Baker,
right lane
yeah.
ends, merge to the left. Now they've just reversed that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
It just makes,
irresponsible on PennDOT's.
I shouldn't laugh, but it's really like, anybody who even like stands at that intersection realizes that makes 0 sense. So I don't know what happened there, but we are aware of it and we are trying to correct it. Now, moving on to citizens' general comments and questions. Jack, you're going to talk to us tonight? Come on, surely you have something you want to say. Can you just state your name and address for the record?
Yes, I'm Nancy Marshall, 45 Tomahawk Claim Lane. I have a petition here signed by 62 people who live along Rising Road. The petition reads, a local developer, Miranda Homes, has asked Cecil Township to rezone the hillside above Silver Creek Nursery so that they can build approximately 240 homes. Homeowners would exit the development on a new road that would intersect with Rising Road opposite the entrance to the turnpike via Cecil Sturgeon Road. The increased traffic on Rising Road would endanger all of us who drive through the narrow railway underpass near the southern end of Rising Road. By signing this petition, we, the undersigned, ask that Cecil Township not rezone that hillside until there is a definitive plan to widen or replace the current underpass before any homes are built. That plan must include both specific dates and financing to complete the improvements.
Just so you are aware, that is something that came up during, we held it was a workshop, not a hearing. But that, the intersection under that underpass, as well as the intersection of Rising and 50, were two things that were discussed with the developer. In fact, we told them, don't come back to us until you come back to us with a plan for both of those off-site improvements. So we had the same concerns that you did. Thank you.
Dan, you've looked at that, and you've looked at some different things they could do on the trestle there.
There are some opportunities to do some relocation of the road to improve the sight distance. Problem is when you come through the underpass, you're blind as you're making, it's got a curve going through it. So there would be some opportunity to improve that. We've heard that they're going to do something with the abutments maybe and do something with that bridge. We have to find that out. So yeah, there's some things that could be done, Ron.
Yes, but we've been looking at that. PennDOT's been there, the turnpike was there, and the railroad was there.
Whose expense is that gonna be to do that road?
It would be theirs.
Miranda,
Yeah, they're giving us $350,000.
okay.
No, they're surveying and planning. I mean, you're not gonna see no houses coming out of Miranda's plan probably over a year.
More than that.
So they've got time to correct it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Ed Beatty, 22 Birch Way. How did we end up on the Patty Mallory situation?
It's done.
Wait, we can't, yeah.
Yeah, it's settled and it's settled and discontinued.
It's settled?
Yes.
I mean, so was the suit dropped?
Yeah, there's a settlement agreement that the board voted on at the last meeting. That's a public document, so you can come request that, but both suits have been discontinued.
So the money that she was paid, she kept?
All I can say is both suits have been discontinued. And if you want to get a copy of the settlement agreement, you can come and ask for a copy.
Yeah, I'll do a right to know for that, but do we know how much total money was spent legally on that situation?
I don't have a tally for that.
Excuse me?
I don't have a tally for that. But
So-
again, you could come and ask for a right-to-know request for that information.
Okay, well, I'll get the information and I'll be back next month. And also, this PA system's horrible here. I have a lot of hearing loss, and so we need to do something about that. I've been complaining about this for 25 years.
You can't hear sitting in the audience.
No, I mean, when the microphone, I mean, just let's look at the positions of everybody's microphone right now. These microphones ain't that great to pick up voices like that. And I know I'm not the only one in this room that is probably hearing 1 out of every 3 words.
I can be more aware of people speaking into the microphone. That's my fault. I will address
I'm
that.
just saying, when you guys turn to talk to each other, forget about it. I can't hear anything.
Okay.
Like we said years ago, you should have had lapel mics.
We actually tried that. We tried that for a couple of years. They were actually worse than these microphones because unless you were sitting here with it on your lapel holding it like this, you couldn't hear them at all. Or if I sat talking like this. But as soon as I turned to talk to Frank and my lapel mic was on this side, or if I talked to Gretchen and my lapel mic was on this side, you couldn't hear. We tried them at a cost of what? It was like $25,000 or $30,000. It was a crazy amount of money, but we did try them for a couple of years.
I mean, I'm just saying, I just think it's bad.
Sorry. I will make sure people speak into the microphone more. Thank you. Any other comments?
Good evening. My name is Marion Miller. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you
I
hear?
know some of the people in this room, and they know why I'm here, I'm sure. I've been fighting this battle for a number of years now with regard to our property at 3240 and 3242 Millers Run Road. Even though this all originated with the sewage project for the municipality, never had a problem until that point. The municipality has denied any responsibility whatsoever and has turned it back on the township and PennDOT because it's a storm water issue is what they're telling me. So I'm here to, if you would like to take time to view some photos that I have of the continual damage over the years. Bill probably remembers a conversation we had years ago. I thank Ron and Representative Ortatai and Cindy Fisher. Very recently, I've approached them again, and I think they've I think Frank went down and took a look at the situation, but I've had no resolution. My family has lost everything that we have ever had putting into that building to try to make a business in Cecil, but we have had no help from either the township, the municipality, or from PennDOT. Now, I've reached out to Governor Wolf's office. He has hooked me up with a couple of representatives in Harrisburg, and of course, Representative Ortatai has been trying, I think, to move forward to do something for us. At this point, I not only need the problem looked at and fixed, I need to have some restitution. I have one estimate of just cleaning it up and cleaning the inside of my building is $42,000. Now, where in God's name I'd get money like that is beyond me, and unfortunately, insurances don't cover water coming from the outside. They only cover like things that have broken and pipes on the inside. So I'm reaching out to the board to review everything that I have, and if they want everything, I have a file this thick from when I began this. And we put in a curb, which at the last meeting I attended, Gateway said it was never there. I have pictures of when we bought the building, when we redid the building, when we put the curb up, and Frank knows my brother-in-law was in asphalt. He put the asphalt curb up in the whole front of the building. I have that picture, and I have pictures of after the work was done by the sewage department, no curb. They told us it was our responsibility to put a new pipeline in there. We paid thousands of dollars to have the whole front of our property dug up and a larger pipe put in there from our front of our property all the way down to the storm drain at the end of our parking lot. And because we're low, we're the lowest building on that road, all the water goes to our property. And one thing that was done, I think it might have been Bill and maybe PennDOT did put another storm drain in there that does absolutely nothing to control that runoff and that water coming into our property. It may do it for the houses up from us because they sit higher, but that's all it does. It does nothing. Now, as I said, if you'd like to view some of the photos I have, you're more than welcome to do so. I did look in, I tried to read Cecil Township storm management ordinance, and I was getting ready to go to law school to try to understand everything. But I think it did say that it is the township's responsibility to maintain and correct any issues that involve stormwater. And that's where I'm at here.
Dan, I don't have it in front of me and I can look it up. You went, didn't you go look at it, or?
Yeah, I'm aware of the situation, and there are different ways that we could prevent water from getting to this building. I talked last month about the improvements at the Poly and possibly bringing a storm sewer down on South DePauli Road and running it all the way to the creek, because the stormwater system along Millers Run Road is really just a hodgepodge of pipes and various things. Nothing's really in good shape. That's why Ron asked them to go out. The pipes are all flat. They get filled up with dirt. And then this property in particular sits below Millers Run Road. So they're right in the bullseye. I hate to tell people this, but I've experienced more flooding in all over Western Pennsylvania, and I represent communities as far south as Cecil and as north as Butler. Everybody's having drainage problems because we're getting more intense rainfalls. Problems that might have been a problem every 5 years are a problem every year now, or 10 years they're a problem. So that's one of the reasons why you have to invest and put more money into storm sewers. I know we have a lot of projects and priorities on different things, but I think in this case, there might be an opportunity before we finish up there with DePauli Road to try to intercept some of that water before it makes the bend off of DePauli and gets down to this particular place. I mean, there's about 1.5 acres of water that we measured that gets in that direction that doesn't have any storm sewer to catch it.
And we can do that without interfering with private property?
We would do it on our road. We would put a catch basin at the intersection of DePauli and try to capture the water before it makes the turn and goes down. That's all we can do.
So let's try it.
May I say something at this point? That was Mr. Bordoff's recommendation years ago, to work in concert. We spoke with PennDOT to put that storm drain there. It's not there. So my problem is, and my issue is, now I have all this damage. I have a building that has mold in it. I can't open my front door from the silt and the runoff that comes off of those roads. And I need to get some resolution and some restitution so that I can at least recoup and maybe try to reopen. You know, that's where I'm at here. I'm just desperate. And I did speak to PennDOT, and they informed me that the state does have insurance for this kind of thing. I would think the township does as well. I don't want to cause any financial disasters for the community. I just want what I feel that we are entitled to. That's all.
I don't think the township's responsible for your damage.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Well, the township was supposed to work on the runoff coming off of DePauli Road and the water, and that's where a lot of it's coming from, Ron.
Are you saying, though, the water's coming down DePauli, or are you saying it's coming off of Miller's Run?
It's coming from DePauli, just not water, but silt too, from DePauli Road, a lot of it. And like I said, I took pictures of that. And when it hits DePauli Road, it comes down onto 50 toward my property. And as Dan indicated, we are the lowest property probably on that whole strip. Yeah. So the water automatically goes to the lowest point. And that's where I'm at.
Part of the issue, give us a minute. We're going to talk to Dan. We're going to talk to Gretchen. Part of our issue, though, is that's a state road. So we are limited. It's private property and a state road. So we're limited on what we can do by law on private property and state roads. So to Dan's point, we can do something potentially on North DePauli, but we can't control the water runoff that's on Miller's Run.
But can't you work with the PennDOT in regards to these issues?
Well, you saw how well it worked when we worked with PennDOT about the signage. So, and we asked PennDOT, I mean, quite frankly, like, I wish I could say yes, but the answer to that is no. Like, we sat in a meeting with PennDOT because as I'm sure you noticed, they do a terrible job plowing Route 50 and 980.
Pictures of that, too.
Oh, me
What they did
too.
to my building.
Yeah, me too. And we sat with them in a meeting, and they told us they do the best they can, and they sent us a thing that says they come once every 4 hours, and that meets their standard.
Well, like I
So-
said, too, though, I mean, Bill can attest to the fact, this isn't a recent problem for me, Ron, you know.
Well, PennDOT put a new inlet in front of Mrs. Kimes' house.
Yes, that's where they put
And the
it.
problem is, it's too high.
Yes.
The water's running around it and then coming down to you. That inlet is taking no water unless it's a really heavy rain.
So this is where you need Jason or T-Ty to talk to PennDOT on your behalf to try to get that corrected. Because we can't correct something on Miller's Run Road. It's a state road.
Well, I understand that. As I said, I'm just talking to the two entities that I believe are involved here because DePauli Road is a township road, and the runoff and the silt come from DePauli. And I thought the township was supposed to correct and maintain those issues, according to the storm management ordinance.
Can you give us, I have your information. Can you give us a minute? We will talk and see what we can do. I don't want to make any promises, though, because unfortunately, like
Pictures?
No, you've emailed them. I know where you live. I've read the emails, I've responded, like, I know all that, and.
Appreciate that. I've never had anybody respond as quickly as you, Cindy, so I'm grateful for that.
Thank you.
You know.
I don't sleep well, but in any case, like, we want to do everything that we can, but please understand that,
You do have a
you know,
plan
us
already,
wanting
right?
to and our
You already
ability
have a
to do
plan for
things
that,
by
right?
law are different. So let us like put
Run
our
it all
heads
the way down to
together
the creek.
and see what we can come up with and see if we can come up with a plan. And we will, I have your phone number, I have your email address. We can reach out and contact you and we will see what we can come up with.
Appreciate that. Do you think there's any possibility at all that the township can work with PennDOT on this together?
I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately, my gut says no.
On them. As I said, when I spoke to the governor's office, they were very adamant about me pursuing this. And it gave me the gentleman's name, I think his name was Bill or Bob Chrysler, Kreiser in Harrisburg, who heads up that particular department. So his girl took my information and he's supposed to get back to me. So maybe if you have to go up that high or do whatever, maybe PennDOT will move forward with something.
So let me do this. Let me see if I can get a meeting between us, you, me, and Frank or Ron, or whoever can be there, and Jason or T-Ty, and see if, and Gwen Rohde from his office is really good.
They're all gonna be there Monday.
Yeah, PennDOT will be here Monday, you said.
PennDOT's
yeah.
gonna be there, Jason said he's gonna be there.
Yeah. So let me see if we can get that together, and
And
then,
Bill.
maybe we can get, because what we need is Jason to advocate for it. PennDOT is not going to do what we're asking them to do.
Can you just answer me one question? Does Cecil Township have insurance that pays for issues and liabilities that are proven to be their responsibilities?
No, not really, no. Like, if you would sue us and we would, like, there's the potential that we could be represented by insurance counsel or something like that, but no.
You don't have insurance that you pay for to do that. I guess the state does, but the municipalities, it's probably not affordable, but whatever, you know.
Right.
But I just thought it would be something to check out.
I'm sorry.
But they also told me, Gwen, as a matter of fact, she told me that if there are issues coming off of DePauli Road because of the development there, many times the developers have contracts with the municipalities for this reason. They put funds aside if there are any problems that are arising from these issues, that the funds are there to make the corrections and pay whatever's necessary. There was a word for it, and the word is...
Escrow.
No, it wasn't an escrow.
Let
was a specific
let
word.
us look at it. I don't want to like commit to anything or say where the water's coming from or any of that. Let us look into it, and I promise you will hear from us.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I think we need to look at Dan's plan and put that inlet in on that corner and take it down, whatever the name of that road is, Dan.
I'm not opposed to that, but let's circle back, Ron, and we'll see. Any other comments or questions from the audience? There's no other, board members, any other comments or questions? This meeting, oh, sorry, were you gonna say?
Yes, I have a comment to make.
Go ahead.
Can we please have a moment of silence to recognize a longtime resident and advocate of local government in Cecil Township, Anna Cohen, who passed
Hold on.
away on
Push her
2/28.
microphone closer to her mouth. No, not yours, hers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Wasn't A&R on the planning commission?